Hey guys, we're live. We're coming to you today from the Persistent Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm with Khan Interoth. Khan, how are you today, man?
Pretty good, David. Excited to chat about this topic. It's been pretty busy around helping some small businesses really prepare for what the future work looks like.
Yeah, the future is the future of work. Is it here yet? I know you and I have been talking about this for about a year and a half. So, is there still a future, or are we living in the future now?
Some people are already in the future. Other people are trying to figure out how to get there, and some people are just hesitant. So, my analogy is like everyone's riding a horse, and then we pull up in an automobile and say, "Get in the car," and they're like, "No, I'm still riding my horse." But first, let me teach you how to drive and get a driver's license and then get in the car. And people are still hesitant. So like, that's the analogy. And then the folks who are all in, David, right? They rode the car. They're now in jets. It's like,
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. It's kind of like the track. I heard a good metaphor for the tractor. Back a long time ago, farming, the farmers did everything by hand, and then all of a sudden somebody showed up with a tractor, and the tractor was a game changer. But some farmers resisted it, other farmers couldn't afford it, right? They didn't bother with it, and then what ended up happening is most of them went out of business. So I think it's similar to with a lot of business owners right now. Figuring out what tools, and so I think that's probably one of the biggest challenges, at least that I hear now, is like, okay, there's so many things. What should I be looking at? Like if you're talking to a small business owner right now, what would you say? They all know, okay, I can't ignore it anymore. That's not an option. Like I have to start looking. So where do you think, what would be a good starting point?
first for themselves. I mean, I've worked with over 500 leaders and executives to 6,000 plus employees. Is like, it's literacy. They have to first be confident in understanding the tools. Now, if they never used the tools before, David, I would say, hey, start with ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini. You can't always try to find the tool that is popular, meaning like bigger companies like OpenAI, Gemini, right? They have an R&D, they have security in mind, right? But if you try to use an AI tool that's not popular out there, I'll be a little wary and cautious. But I think let's just use ChatGPT. They were like one of the first to come to market. Very easy to use. Get comfortable around it first. Now, if you're a small business, you probably already have things like QuickBooks. Right? If you think about accounting software, you might have, a marketing tool like Canva. If you're doing like design work, a lot of these tools already have AI infused into them. So people don't realize as well, like AI is already in a lot of the stuff we're already using, even if they're hesitant to use it. So you have to be aware of like, how does the AI work in these like software systems that I already use for my business, right? If it's QuickBooks or Canva or your CRM, like it could be HubSpot, for example. And then you layer in different tools that are practical. Don't just chase after the tools that you think sound really cool or neat or you heard someone use. It's still down to the fundamentals of business. Like, does it make sense? It's kind of like when I think you and I were talking about buying all this software, right? But it's no different. Like you're going shopping, you're buying clothes or whatever. Like, do I need this or do I want this? And if you can figure out what that is, what the tool does for you, then it makes sense to make a purchase.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And so I think, I don't know, I could be wrong, but I would imagine most people, business owners is who we're talking to right now, entrepreneurs, are using at least the basic ChatGPT, right? Like to me, that's first. The next level is, okay, spend $20 a month and upgrade so that you'll have, more tools like projects. And I think most, I don't know if you know the percentage, I don't want to just throw random numbers out, but I think most people have done that, right? Like probably 50-50, would you say? Or yeah, I'm just guessing. I don't know.
Yeah, I typically do surveys going into sessions for businesses. Even I've done open workshops for recently just in Boston, there was a small business enterprise expo. And it's like over 70% of people have used a tool one way or another. We still got a small percentage that's hesitant, but it's every year, it's growing leaps and bounds. Like people are one, either curious, or two, if they work at a bigger company, it's a mandate. Like we're going to be an AI native business. You need to understand. It's like learning how to type. Like you got to learn how to type. Like we have keyboards now, right? Before we had typewriters, and it's just when the internet came out, like we have to learn how to leverage and use the internet to benefit ourselves, our company, and be competitive in the marketplace. So going back to the beginning about future of work, like you as a professional and as a human have to figure out ways to be literate yourself and use AI safely.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that in a minute. So I think first step, get yourself set up with some type of AI. I mean, I still have my original ChatGPT I've been using for 18 months. I have not got rid of it yet. I've talked about getting rid of it a couple of times, but it just, to me, it doesn't make sense. It's just too good. It's my friend. It knows a lot about me. It's like having an assistant that has all this data about me and my businesses and everything I've ever done. And when you start setting up projects, which is the next level, go spend $20 a month, and now you can create projects, which essentially is like creating folders inside of your GPT. So now you have storage and memory. So that's why I haven't got rid of my GPT, although I use Claude a lot. I use Claude as well. For somebody that's just starting out, what would you do? Is there a preference, or do you even care? I mean, what are your thoughts? Or Gemini? I mean, I use Gemini too. I mean, I use a lot of Gemini.
What you're doing the right thing, David. Like most people, once they start to realize this, it's a tool. So the AI has to be looked at two ways. You have AI as a tool, and you have AI as infrastructure, right? So most people today are still using AI as a tool, like a chatbot, and it's okay to have different tools for different uses. Like just like in the kitchen, right? You have a pan and a pot, and they're for different uses. So it's the same way. Once you start to understand these tools, like ChatGPT does certain things well. Gemini, like I use Gemini, ChatGPT, I have Claude, I have Perplexity, I have all these other tools, but I use them for different things. Things that like strategy, I like to do like strategy and content with Claude. Kind of like I have like my co-CEO and co-CFO I built in within Gemini. Just to your part, like I've built a lot and it knows me. And then like doing projects, I do a lot of like if it's like I do a lot of like workshop lessons or proposals or decks. Like I have those already pre-built and inside of ChatGPT. So like that's my workhorse, right? Like getting things executed. So I use them for different things. But if someone only has one account, I would recommend go use Claude, because Claude can do all of those things, right? But once you start to realize, oh, I want certain models or certain tools that are really good at certain things, and you have the budget, I mean, they're $20 each, give or take.
That's right.
Then just get each of them once you start to realize how to use these tools.
Well, that's what we were talking about before we started recording. Like if you, like, let's just say you bought Claude, Gemini, and ChatGPT, the $20 a month version, it means you're paying $60 a month. Where else are you going to get an employee for $60 a month? That's going to be on point. Whenever you ask a question, as long as you know how to ask the question right, you're gonna get very good information. And with Claude now, there's tasks that it can actually do, which is wild with CoWork.
Yep.
So let's just kind of summarize. So number one is everybody. I'm going to assume everybody listening to this is using GPT or using an LLM, and they're paying at least $20 a month. So I want to talk about. You had mentioned. What did you mention? Oh God, say that word again. You said it earlier.
Adoption,
you said it a couple of times.
Literacy.
Not adoption, literacy. Thank you. Yeah. What is the literacy? And then I want to get into another topic in a minute about.
I was talking to a startup this morning, and he had asked me like, how do I scale my business with AI? Right. So like literacy is understanding how the AI is. You have to it's just like reading literacy or even like learning math, right? But fundamentals of like what math is and strategies and formulas. And so same thing with AI is like learning how to prompt, learning what good and bad looks like, learning how to use, like you mentioned, projects, right? Project folders versus using a thread. Like in ChatGPT, you can also create custom GPTs. So custom GPTs are like bots that are trained specifically like you give it like guardrails, like me, like you can call it personalities. Like I create different GPTs.
That's
like
right.
I create one that's like specializes in sales. Like I have another that specializes in creating handbooks because we do a lot of like AI policy handbook writing. I have another one specializes in just doing like scoping proposals. Another one that's doing marketing. So like these are like identities that you give these custom GPTs. Now, when you have a project, you can also create like a company project folder, and in there you can have threads, conversations, and it's like having like a brick and mortar, like it's having a business where you have all these people in an office room and they're collaborating together because they hear each other's conversations in the cubicles, and they kind of these threads can kind of start weaving together, but then you can also have just isolated thread conversations, for those one-offs and things like that, and they don't really mix in with the other threads. So once you understand like how these tools are used, now you can start solving problems more effectively and efficient because you're using it right. I had another gentleman today I was talking to. He kept creating a new thread every single time. Didn't realize he could just be in the same thread, David, and have that So he said, "Oh, I kept resetting." I'm like, "Yeah, because you." But that's the literacy part, right? If you knew the difference, you wouldn't always click a new conversation thread. You can just like a text thread in a cell phone, right?
That's right.
You can just stay in it. If you're always texting like your wife or your best friend, you don't need to create a new one every single time.
Yeah, it surprises me sometimes when I realize that not everybody knows that yet. Like to me, you and I've known that for what, 18 months, 2 years. We've been having these conversations, and so okay. The literacy is really just the understanding of what it does. Also, is it like the security part as well? Like we have to be careful with what information we're feeding it, whose information we're feeding it, what we give it access to. Is that part of literacy as well?
Yeah, I know the analogy I was given earlier about going in the automobile and getting a driver's license and learning how to drive and all that. So it's the same thing. Like you have this very powerful tool. Again, you use ChatGPT and LLM as an example. How do we use it properly, right? If you have proprietary information, like I see folks will just upload like personal identifiable information. I'm like, no, you don't do that. You have to like redact that because now like you're putting that into the cloud, the server, and like so. You want to be, again, when you're training and rolling this out within your company or even for yourself, like what are the safe ways of using AI? You don't also just like willy-nilly just attach like your full folder or access to your full desktop because it can read everything. Now, if you have any passwords in there or things that you don't want it to, like personal stuff versus business stuff, like it can see everything. Unless you, again, say, hey, I only want you to access these folders, or this is what, I typically don't give it full reign to everything. I give it very like specific, access points because I'm overly cautious because I've just seen and heard all the crazy things that happens when you don't do these things safely. So there's definitely like productivity and safety. There's a balance that's happening. Some people are all for productivity gains at the detriment of security, privacy, and safety, David. So you can have both, but then you got to be aware of like what are the pros and cons of it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I want to talk about there's a philosophy out there, AI first. We keep hearing it. I keep hearing it a lot. I'm sure you do as well. Businesses are trying to create. We're an AI first business, right? Meaning they're. I think I'm saying it right. Like AI, everything's led by AI, right? Like my sales process is AI. My customer service is I personally don't think we're there yet. I mean, I'll tell you who did a really good job at it, and then I want to get your thoughts on it. This happened the other day. I had to call Verizon. That is honestly the first time I've actually had a good experience with an AI. Even with some of these other big companies I've called, it's always been choppy. I think Verizon. So it just tells us the technology is getting better. But I mean, Verizon, think about the size of it, like the amount of money Verizon can throw into this. So what are your thoughts when you hear like AI first? I think personally, like it's AI enhanced. That's I believe, like take everything we're doing and some things we can replace with AI. But let's hear your thoughts on when you hear AI first.
There are companies that are like AI native, meaning like they're using it and they're like they understand like, okay, where can we AIify this? But they're using it pragmatically, right? I'm a really big being practical about it or applied AI. Other folks are like AI at all costs, right? So they're just like, let's just figure this out. And it's like it's almost like a bull in a China store. Like, it's just like, we'll figure it out, we'll fix it, we'll break it, we'll kind of figure it out. And other folks like just are really, really just conservative, and it's forced on them because it's in their tools. So now they have to figure out how to use it. But for those who are AI first, and it sounds like to me, it's more the group that is just like, we'll do everything at all costs. You got to be cautious. Again, it's about the security and things like that. Is there an AI policy? Is everyone using the same tools? Or, shadow AI is a term where people bring in their own tools that haven't been approved by the company, right? Even if it's making that person more productive, but it's not approved, and it might be, DeepSeek, or it might be an open source that's like, again, so there's just like all these things that businesses and leaders aren't aware about, but guaranteed your employee, if you're a leader listening to this, they're using some version of AI, or they might even be bending the rules on the AI that is approved, and they figured out how to use other things in there and connect things, even you told them not to connect it. So there has to be a policy in place. There has to be auditing in place. But I'm a big believer at the end of the day is you have to look at it from a business standpoint. You have to fix the business problems or challenges that you're doing before you weave in AI. Because if you don't fix like your sales process, your marketing process, your operating process, and you just bring an AI into it, you're just accelerating and widening the crack. So you have to first fix the business aspect first, and then weave in AI so that it's done correctly. And I see 9 out of 10 times people are just thinking AI is going to fix it, but you're just putting accelerating gasoline on a fire that needs to be fixed first.
That's a really good point. Yeah, you throw in if you got a broken rocket ship, and then you add some AI to your broken rocket ship, that's a dangerous that's an even more dangerous broken rocket ship, right?
Here's a scenario, David, because I know you do a lot of like you help folks with like sales and positioning, right? So imagine you have a really poor unique value proposition, like just it's horrible, but you're like, okay, we just got to
I got so many examples of poor follow-up.
Right, for a follow-up,
yeah.
And you say, okay, I'm on Zoom Info, and I just got 10,000 emails and contacts. So now now we do an outreach push, but you it's with poor messaging. So you're just accelerating your poor brand experience, and that's what it means. Like, you got to fix some fundamental things first before you weave in AI.
Yeah, I get so many random texts from companies. Like, I could probably find some now. Are you doing anything fun this weekend? Oh yeah. That's absolutely what. Yeah, am I interested in talking to you about using your system? I guess maybe I could teach you how to make it more effective, right? But I mean, that's the perfect example of just using it, just like launching it. Okay, I need it. Like, so I teach 7 to 17 touches for follow-up. Well, let's not just say, hey, AI, give me 17 touches and launch it, but let's train the AI on here's some examples of some touches, and here are the ones I want you to use, and right. And so I think that's what a lot of people are just doing, is just launching it and seeing what happens, and then selling it, trying to sell it to other people. Hey, buy our AI system.
Or even chatbots. Like, we build a lot of like customer service bots, right? It comes down to very comparable to like a human that you onboard, and you give them like handbook, you maybe give them a script. So how much effort in training and testing and role playing do you do with that person so they're prepared to de-escalate, right? A person in a customer service call. The same effort and focus and time and testing has to get applied to a chatbot as well. You have to create guardrails. You got to create roles. You got to create goals and rules, and then oftentimes we test it out, and then like, oh, the tone's off, or that was the wrong answer, or it went to the wrong link, and we found out why. Like, here's the URL link we gave it. It shouldn't be. So like, you have to inspect what you expect. I say that often. You have to inspect what you expect out of an employee or out of a virtual employee, which is your AI agent or bot that you're using. And a lot of people just like, they give it like a couple of documents, or they say, oh, here's my website. Boom, go live with the chatbot. And no, it's not as easy as it sounds.
Mm. Well, that happened to me recently because I had built as we were talking about earlier with the assistants on GPT, or I call them personas. You said personality, right? And so I built one, I don't know, a year ago, and I'd been using it, and I'm thinking like, man, this is like wicked outdated information. And then it occurred to me it was what you just said. Like, I haven't given it any updates. I haven't given it any more additional training, right, to keep it up to date on what's going on. I'm just thinking somehow it's going to do that by itself. In a lot of ways, it's the same thing as having an employee, or maybe a good employee might have even just went and did it themselves, right? They would have took some initiative and said, okay, I need to find the most recent version of what David's doing. But the AI is not going to do that. Well, maybe in the future, the AI will do that. I don't know. Maybe that's the next level.
They can self-train now. I think I believe Anthropic, a lot of their like software and coding is like, it's basically them, it's learning on its own. So that's why we're seeing tons of layoffs.
Is it called recursive self-improvement is what they're calling it, right? Have you heard that term? Recursive self-improvement, meaning it's actually training itself now to get better. I think that's one of the reasons I feel like it just got like that thing with the new Claude that got shut down by the government. Because I think, okay, don't hold me to this, but I believe that's one of the issues with it, is it actually was starting to train itself to be better.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these larger labs, these tech labs, that's what they're doing. They're further to get further and smarter. They're giving it the empowerment to train itself. But then it comes down to what are the safety measures in place to make sure that it's safe at the end of the day. Because I saw the news about that. I haven't got a chance to really dive deeper into that, but I'm definitely interested to kind of learn more about what happened there.
Yeah, I don't know a ton about it. The thing I know is that the government stepped in and shut it down for security purposes. And so there's some different chats online. If you go to Google and YouTube, I mean, there's some other conversations about it. And somebody talked about the fact that it can actually create improvements on itself, which at some point it can continue to improve itself so much that it thinks, hey, I don't need this idiot here anymore. Right? Like, he's slowing me down, I guess, is the theory behind it. At some point it gets to that level. Who knows, right? I mean, it's certainly that's Terminator style, right? Like, I mean, I'm sure you've seen the movie Terminator.
There's I forgot which tech company this happened. I read this article a few months back, and they set a setting saying something like make sure you clean up the database, right? And so it's like pretty clear. Like, what it ended up doing was it deleted everything and said, "Oh, you want me to clean it up?" And it deleted all the files, right? So that's where, again, like, human in the loop. I'm a strong believer, like, not fully automating things, but having a human in the loop throughout the process to sign off on things, and sometimes not even giving it the ability to write or edit, like just give it read only. So that's a thing that I always recommend, just read only feature, so it can't actually take action until you feel 100% confident. So this is now we're getting to beyond the bot, David, but getting to like automations and agents, like doing things for you. Like, an agent is actually where you give it a task and it executes for you. So if it's executing, I usually recommend, hey, do read only, have human approval, and then after the human approves it, then it executes.
Yeah, Claude. So recently I landed it too, which is amazing. I landed an engagement with a national insurance company. And so what I had was I used Claude to research the specific insurance company and then research the industry itself, and then come back to me. And it did it literally. I went and took a shower because I had a Zoom meeting coming up. When I got back from my Zoom meeting, Claude had created a whole summary of things for me to talk to about not just the industry, but the specific company and the person I was meeting with on the phone. It went and scrubbed his LinkedIn channel and things he was doing and things he was interested in. And it was wild. And I didn't know that insurance, that industry itself, has a lot of challenges right now, because similar to like electricians, a lot of the insurance reps are aging out. So they've got this gap of new trying to bring in new blood, the old blood. So anyway, that's another conversation. But I learned all this from Claude while I was taking a shower. It's in my computer doing the work.
Yeah.
Like, that's cool.
Research. I mean, research is so convenient where you can just set it, walk back and it has this intensive research that would have taken hours or days, depending what you're asking to do. Yeah, minutes to several minutes.
Brother, it's there's another tool out there. Like literally, you can connect it to Claude and you can tell it the industry. It will go out, find the companies in an industry, the decision makers. In some cases, get their contact information, or at least get you the company information, and then put together literally a whole campaign. Connect to your Gmail, and if you wanted to start the campaign, it'll like it's just wild what you can do with some of these tools right now.
I'd be cautious with that though, Dave, because I know a lot of like sales organizations will use AI to do the research. I still highly recommend that you look at like database providers to enrich the data. So enriching the data,
Yes.
like validating the data and things like that, because
100%.
oftentimes when it scrubs stuff, it's not validating it. It's just like, oh, this is what I found online, and it surfaces it, right? But the data is
Great
out.
point.
Like the feedback I get from other sales folks who've done that, I'm like, oh yeah, like you're getting outdated content that's probably just indexed online.
Yeah, so that's a good point. I didn't mention it, but Apollo is the tool that enriches the data. So you use Apollo, pulls the data back in, enriches it, and then from there you can launch different campaigns. I mean, it's just and think about what we'd have to do. You'd have to pay somebody to do this, if not. And somebody with the caliber. I mean, you could pay somebody whatever $20 an hour to just pull information for you, right? Like you can hire a VA for that. It's still $20-$30 an hour, whatever they charge. But somebody that's smart enough to actually not just pull the data, but come up with the right campaign based on behaviors and interests and industry. You'd have to pay thousands and thousands of dollars for somebody to do that for you. Mm-hmm. Or now you can do that for less than $100. $100 a month. I mean, it's wild. As long as you're giving it the right prompts. You said it earlier, though. It really comes down to, training it right and giving it the right prompt and the right, asking for the right questions.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
100%. No different than a human, right? It's like how you communicate with them is how you prep them for success for their role. So like what you ask, how you provide them more context, like prompting. A lot of people just think they can ask one sentence things and get like a really good output. Like, no, you got to provide it like context, you got to provide it examples, what your goal is. And then as you start to learn how to do the prompting, and there's tons of free tools out there, but these models are getting pretty smart too. It also understands what you're trying to ask, even if you're like really poor at prompting.
And you can help. It can help you prompt. Actually, I've used literally, told it what I'm trying to do, and asked it to create the good prompt for me, and it's done it. I mean, you just try. Sometimes you just explain, hey, here's what I'm trying to achieve. Here's the ultimate goal, right? And it's smart enough. At least Claude, Claude. I use Claude a lot for that. Those types of things. So I mean, it's wild. This is a cool conversation. We talked about obviously getting started. We talked about kind of like how to. And we didn't necessarily say like if we get into like how does a business know what to like. And I think this is something you do, right? You go in. Like for me, I focus specifically on sales process. Like I can look at a company's sales process. Like I know the sales process, the first step, the second step, the third step, fourth step, fifth step. And I can say, okay, here's your ICP. Here's where they are. Here's the challenges you solve. Now we can put a tool in help it in each step. Now you look at the whole business though, right? As a whole, you're not just looking at the sales process. You're looking at the business, correct?
Yeah, the whole ecosystem of the business. So
explain that to us. Like what does that entail?
When folks are looking to work with myself or my team, it's, they might come first with like a marketing issue or an operational thing. Oftentimes it's the leaders first, like say, I need to understand how to use AI for my role or my company. I need to figure out like, what are the strategies in place? How do we start? What's the budget? So that is looking at AI as infrastructure, meaning like weaving it into every single department. But before you can even find ways to build out, workflows or agents and things like that, you have to do adoption, right? You have to figure out change management. That's the literacy part that we talked about earlier, David. So all of these have to kind of run parallel together. But I like to do 1 or 2 use cases that are like low hanging fruit, something easy to do. So people start using it, seeing it, and then they get more comfortable. Then they start to kind of think of the next thing and the next thing. So it's like empowering people to understand, like, how can AI help me be better? Not replace me, but me be better, and just remove like the mundane tasks or repeatable things, working smarter, not harder. But that's things like we have the framework that helps with any type of department or any industry. And once people start to see it, and equally across the company, that's when you see the whole benefit. This like rising tides lift all boats. Like the whole company now becomes that AI native, right? But they're doing it in a way that's at their pace. And it's really exciting to see a whole business just scale, because it's never done in a silo. Because it wouldn't make sense to, like, let's say you had your marketing department or sales department using AI, but then like your HR or operations or product team, like they're not using it. And it's just like there's this disconnect. So the whole company needs to be prepared to do this. So it has to come from the leaders. But sometimes I hear you get champions from within the department who push it up. And then once the leaders get it, then they kind of roll across the company. Like, so I've seen it from both directions, but the goal is to get the whole company aware and using it in a way that's practical for them.
Yeah, smart. Mm-hmm. I like to look at so when it comes to and this is kind of what I'm taking from what you just said. You like, it's not about necessarily replacing some people unfortunately are going to be replaced. There's going to be industries that are going to be affected. Like driving is an example of an industry that's really going to get hit hard by robotics, which robots are AI. That's it. Like an autonomous vehicle is an AI robot driving around, right? That's what it is. But if you look at the sales process, we're not in a place, I don't think we'll ever be in a place, maybe we will, where you can just say, okay, AI, you're going to handle my sales process. I look at it more like somebody like myself that has a lot of experience in sales will then manage 5 or 6 AI agents. Each agent is specific to a certain step in the sales process. Like this agent is an absolute master when it comes to qualification, right? This agent is a master when it comes to presentation. Like they'll develop presentations that, right? Like to me, that's like the next evolution. So now you don't need 6 salespeople. You need 1 salesperson and 5 AIs. Is that kind of similar when you look at a whole business?
That's exactly it. Like oftentimes I get the question, we can't find good salespeople. Can you build some AI agents? So I was like, well, it's not at the caliber today to do a full sales, to replace a salesperson. However, like if there's certain tasks that the salesperson is doing, that's where it makes sense to augment the AI. So like maybe that frees up, David, 3 hours a day of now. So now that person can still do that. Salesperson can be that human side of it, but you can start scaling more work. But yeah, like what they're all saying, right? All the experts out there is like, instead of having 10 workers, maybe you have like 2 people that manage 10 agents, right? For all different departments. So like, that's a reality that the future work, like how do we prepare for that? How does society prepare for that? And that's where, I have 4 kids. So I'm constantly in a very organic way, like, hey, let's learn how to safely use AI. When you guys are using it to research or ask it questions, like, also I'm showing them how to build apps. Like you can vibe code, right? So you can like build really simple apps and things like that now without having to be a developer. So like these are tools and skills that the future work is gonna need, because you can problem solve in your department or in your role by like, you can create your own apps. Like that wasn't a thing a few years ago. Now you can literally build multiple apps to help you just be a better, employee or leader or whatever that is, and just solve problems. So now you don't have to pay. Unfortunately, you don't have to pay. You're not hiring a full stack developer to build that app, because you can just vibe code it. So yeah, like that industry is definitely getting pounded, unfortunately, right? Those coders, software engineers.
Yeah, and so in vibe coding, you simply just continuing to iterate, tell it. Like one of the things I use GPT for now, maybe more than anything else, is image creation. I don't know if you've used it for image creation, but it does a phenomenal job of image creation. And you just keep, like, I'll tell it to create something, and then I'll vibe code. Okay, make this change. It does it. Oh, make this change. And it just keeps sending new iterations. That's vibe coding, right? It's the same thing.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm simplifying it, but it really is the same thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're speaking to it. You're prompting to it. It's not coding, but it's, yeah, you're just having, yeah, you are articulating what you want, and it's, generative AI, right? It's generating a creative output for you. So, and that's the thing. Like, now that if you're a systems thinker, or you're someone that can really articulate clearly what you're trying to accomplish, the sky's the limit. Really, you can pretty much build anything you want, which is really unheard of to think about that, but you really can. You can really build whatever you want within reason, and get, you might get yourself 70% there or 100% there. It really depends on the complexity of what you're trying to ask it to build. But these tools and the technology is going to get better and better every two months. We're seeing, like, updates. So what you might have vibe coded today, David, which got you like 80% there, who knows, 6 months from now, like, it's going to get you 100% there. Even better, faster, prettier, more secure, all that jazz.
Well, I'll tell you, I built for a client, we needed a landing page for his, he does vehicle wraps, and we needed a nice landing page for a product he was launching out, and literally just went into GPT and said, okay, this is what we're looking for. And that was the first iteration. Took that, sent it to a VA, and the VA, that probably would have cost us $3,000. It took, the VA was like $400 for him to go and build the whole site and use what was created in GPT for $20. And the thing works mint. It's amazing, right? It's wild what you can do. So let's do this. Let's give, from both of us, I want to give us the top hack. It doesn't necessarily even need to be an AI hack. It could just be like one of your top business hacks, and then your top AI tool.
Oh man, my top hack. So I love to speak, versus text to talk. And I think having contextual awareness. So just changing it up, right? Because, like, for example, if you and I sat across the table from each other, David, and we were just texting each other, right? Just like prompting, that conversation is a little disjointed. But if we just spoke to each other back and forth, all those little words, all those little nuances provides a deeper level of communication clarity. So that's why. So I always recommend people, like, speak to it, like hit the microphone part and speak. It's got to you got to see better outputs. There's studies out there about that versus just typing. Because I know some people, it's weird for them to speak, but that's a hack or tip I always recommend people to do. And then my go-to is, I like NotebookLM a lot. You can use it for creating for tutoring. It can create quizzes, and then it doesn't really hallucinate, because the sources that you give it are that's what it goes to. So, like, I use it a lot for all different things. I have one for, like, my fitness, and nutrition that I create for myself, and I have one for business strategy. I have one for, like, tools that I'm researching, and I put in there. So I have all these different notebooks, and then sources, and you can also add sources from the internet too. So it really becomes this, like, large, like, knowledge database that is very accurate, because it's only pulling from those sources.
Brilliant. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of NotebookLM. It also creates amazing video content, by the way. You can create some insane videos. You stole my voice transcription. I think that's my favorite hack. And I've been doing that for a couple of years now. But I tried using, I don't know if have you used WhisperFlow yet? Do you know what WhisperFlow is? You heard of it?
I have not used it, but yes, I know people that have.
I used it for a little bit. I stopped using it. Honestly, I don't know. I felt you don't really need WhisperFlow. Like, I can press a button on my Mac and my voice icon pops up, or same thing with my LLMs, and it remembers. So that would probably be mine. I'm trying to think of another one, since you stole mine, man. That's not right. You know what? Here's another hack is Boomerang. Do you know what Boomerang is?
No.
Boomerang is an add-on. So that brings up another one too. Now is because Gmail. So I use even though I have my CRMs, we use Go High Level. By the way, if anybody wants a free 2-week trial of Go High Level, reach out to me and I'll get you a free 2-week access into Go High Level. But everything in the end feeds into Gmail. So that's where I'm reading all my emails, right? My Gmail workspace. And so Boomerang is I think Tim Ferriss actually is one of the founders. You know who Tim Ferriss is, right?
Yeah.
For our Workweek book. You Boomerang stuff. So let's say I get a bill from Calm for $40,000 and I'm like, oh man, I got to pay that at the end of the month. So then I would just hit Boomerang and then I would pick the date and then it'll come back to me like one day before it's due. Right. Or let's say I get an email and I don't want to respond right now. I say, okay, I don't know if I want to commit to that golf tournament yet. Let me think about it. Give me a week. So I hit Boomerang 1 week. It comes back in a week. It also recommends times to come back. So that's one of my favorite tools I've been using for a long time. It's called Boomerang. You can also, I know there's other systems you can, like if you don't want to, if somebody know you're reading emails at 3 a.m, you can send an email out the next day at 6 a.m. I think Microsoft does that too, though. Yep. It's other systems. And then my tool, I am just a huge fan of Descript. Do you know what Descript is?
Yeah, the video editing tool.
Yeah, it is just phenomenal. I mean, it does have a pretty decent learning curve, but if you're willing to commit some hours to it, I mean, it's amazing what you can do with Descript. I'm at a point now where I take this video, you and I just did 40 minutes of content. I can just take this and once it hits my Google Drive, it'll end up in Descript, and Descript knows what to do with it, sends it back to me, edited, B-roll, a file, everything. And podcast ready, where I used to have to pay someone $120 each episode to do that.
Yep.
That's probably one of my favorite tools. But again, learning curve wise, it's probably not the easiest to learn.
Yeah, Descript is great. I have these. I have both.
Use it.
I have Descript and Opus.
Oh yeah, Opus is cool. I like Opus. Opus, you don't do anything, right? Like Opus, you don't do anything. You just drop the video in it and it does. Descript, you do still have to kind of give it instructions and I even do some manual stuff sometimes because it gives you so many options. There's so many tools.
And again, to your point, it's tools, right? I like Descript where if you want more of that customization, flexibility, and things like that, like that's why I like Descript. And it's still really easy if you're not a video editor versus Opus. Like it's just quick. If you just want to get something up and going, it does a fantastic job.
Yeah, Opus is $20 a month. And Descript's a little bit more. All right, good, man. Well, hey, I always appreciate talking to you, man. We'll do this again in a couple months. Final thoughts for somebody listening?
Stop waiting and start doing. Like just like even like it's normal to feel uncomfortable right now about everything that's happening in maybe your role or the tools, but like just start step by step. Start doing.
Speaking of, do you do anything with DISC? Are you familiar with DISC assessment?
Oh yeah, I have my own DISC assessment. I've done like predictive index. I've done Agile Brain. Like I love those insight tools.
Okay, cool. All right, good. I didn't know that. I'm doing a lot more with the John Maxwell DISC, and it's been super fun. And so especially not specifically for sales, but it's super helpful for salespeople as well.
Oh, so here's another hack if I can add in here,
of course.
David. So what I created this co-CEO. And then what I did was I uploaded my DISC assessment. I uploaded my predictive index, and then my Agile Brain. So it really understands me. So now like my co-CEO understands what makes me tick, what motivates me, all that stuff. So just having like, again, context, right, into your AI helps it communicate and be a better partner for you.
Brilliant. And similar is I have a project I'm looking at it in Claude, and it has all the training from the Maxwell DISC, like almost all of it. Meaning, I probably shouldn't be recording this right now, but meaning when I create an email, I can just say, "Hey, this is the email I'm writing," and the person is a S on the DISC assessment, right? And it creates an email that works for an S based on all the information it has. So yeah, it's amazing what we can what we can do these days,
Yeah.
brother. Anything I didn't ask you that I should have asked you?
I don't think so. I mean, we have these conversations offline, online. So like, I look forward to more, David.
Yeah,
Thanks
we'll
for
do
having
it
me.
again. And how people get in touch with you on LinkedIn, or that's the best way?
Yep, LinkedIn, comment Tharath on LinkedIn, AIadvisorguy.com. So pretty easy.
All right, good. Well, you and I need to do an event, man. We're gonna figure that out eventually, man. I'm just gonna stick with the sales. I'll let you do the AI. How's that sound?
Let's go. 1-2 punch.
All right. Amen. All right.
All right,
Have a
take
great
care.
rest. All right.
You too.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks. All right.